Hi, hello, this is Jules the Human here, and welcome to the Jules the Anime Hour. I'm one of your hosts, Jules the Human, and usually every week we go out into the world and watch some anime and we come back here and talk about it. But this week is a little special because we are doing the first annual Crunchy Awards. The Crunchy Awards here, as you saw it, we are ready to dive into the anime that was touched our hearts this year, and we'll be giving the Golden Crunchyroll to the winners. And I'm not the host of the Crunchy Awards alone. I have my co-host Matt Galley. Matt, how are you doing today?
I am so excited to give out some awards and
Hmm.
show some recognition for all the quality stuff that we watched this year, really. And we were just talking about it, like it was really hard to kind of nail the winner down for each of these categories that we're
Sure.
about to give awards out for, because there was a really good mixed bag of like quality that we had up at the top, where everything kind of can almost have its argument be made for it to receive its award. But
Hmm.
we definitely, I think, managed to narrow down the ones that deserve the awards. And it's all really good stuff. I'm very excited to get started.
Yeah. So the way that it's going to work, we are after today, we're going to say goodbye to our anime tier list. This is year one. This is the entire year that we had for Jules and Matt Anime Hour. This is going to be gone. We're going to be doing something a little bit differently next season. And at the end of this episode, we are going to pick a brand new anime. We didn't watch anime this week. I watched Scott Pilgrim. It was all right. We are going to pick a anime to watch together out of this list, and if you would like, there is 500 bits. If you would like to put up there and give us another anime to add to the list, you can do that as well. But we have all these animes to pick from, and we are going to be picking a new one at the end of this episode. But the Crunchy Awards are here, and we have a ton of categories that we're going to list off here. And a lot of them are, all of them are anime that we've watched this season. And we're going to talk about them and give the award away for a bunch of different categories. So, the first category for the first Crunchyroll that I'll be giving away is for best character development. When you're thinking about character development, what needs to happen in an anime for it to be up here?
I need to see like, not only the main characters, not only the main character, the MC, but I need all the characters that are in the story to kind of be serving some purpose or be given some sort of actual personality. Character development to me doesn't always mean the character themselves has to develop across the story. It just means the characters have to be well developed themselves, make them actually feel like characters. It doesn't have to be this huge grand arc that they go on every single time, but sometimes just giving enough where it matters can really help make these, what are just drawings on a screen, feel like actual people when they're presented to us.
So, the nominees for best character development in an anime this season are we have Kabaneri of the Iron Fortress, Madoka Magic, Puella Magi Madoka Magica, Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash, and The Promised Neverland. Those are the nominees for best character development here. Get those claps going. Great stuff. Great anime. Best character development. The first Crunchyroll award goes to Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash. Oh my goodness.
Clap it up for Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash.
While it is still fairly new, fairly recently that we watched it, I was here. While like okay,
Yeah,
all right.
recency bias set aside, you know.
And I didn't rank it as high as you. You thought it was amazing. You thought it was phenomenal. You loved all that stuff. While I didn't rank it high on, an animate altogether, where I can agree on is that for this anime, what it did well was the character development. And us having a whole category just for that, I would say yes, this is number one because of the way they dealt with everything, the way that it took the time to do and show the different emotions, but also the passing of time. I mean, we talk a lot about it on this show about the passage of time is very important, and sometimes anime don't take it seriously. It's just like whatever, it could happen anytime, and it's about bottle episode. But this one actually was like calling back episodes and saying this is how much time it is, how it's been for us, and how we're dealing with everything. And I really liked it. I really liked it for that aspect as far as character development going into the whole season.
Yeah, I mean, this one's again the most recent one that we watched, so I'll kind of feel like a broken record here in some ways because we just finished talking about this show. But yes, it really did an excellent job of just making these characters feel like actual people, seeing them go through the trials and kind of dealing with their mixed emotions and feelings as a group and trying to maintain cohesion, but ultimately having to have those stumbles and see their own mistakes and realize excuse me, and realize that they can't just wallow around. They have to kind of work together to overcome the obstacles that are presented in front of them. It
And I would say they did it the best out of any anime. Well, I don't think in general, I don't think I would ever watch it again. I'm glad I experienced these characters going through their own story, and I think they handled, the tough topics that they did very well. And probably better than any other anime. I mean, the dealing with loss for so long and like really hammering it home, but like really diving into what makes us human and being like, this is something you can't just forget. And then whenever you find somebody that has dealt with the same sort of things, it can here's that situation because it's like, oh, we lost this, but this other person also lost people as well. And how do they interact? What are they doing? And how do they get over it or get over it to deal with it together? And I think
yes.
that's really beautiful.
um And the other, nominees that we had up here, Cabaneri, Madoka Magica, and The Promised Neverland, like they are all like wholly satisfying in terms of the character development that you encounter in those shows as well.
Uh-huh.
Cabaneri, especially, kind of was really hard for me to uh, not give the nod to because of how well paced the character development is in that show.
Hmm.
But when you really sit down and like look at each of the characters of Grimgar over the course of the series, you really get to know them and kind of a personal way. Like they become more than just teammates in some aspects. In other aspects, they are weird, like they have weird rivalries going on. I shouldn't say weird, but they have contested rivalries going on in certain cases, but it all feels very real, where it's not just teamwork and friendship always saves the day. Sometimes like bad things happen, and that's just the course of the day when you go adventuring.
Mhm. So Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash is the first Crunchyroll recipient. We have the Golden Crunchy, I guess we can call it. I don't know. It was made by Rex Zambi. She has made that for us.
An
The
excellent job
Yeah,
on our
excellent job.
golden crunchy.
I gave her the idea. I said, "Give me the Crunchyroll logo, but a little differently." And I showed her like a MS Paint style version of what.
Workshop the name in post.
Yeah, what should it be called? The Golden Crunchy, the Golden Roll? What should it? I don't know what this little.
Each category have a different name.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's what we had the idea of. A different category have a different name for I don't know what it is. Trophy. There it is. Trophy. But yeah, the first recipient,
Golden crunch.
the Golden Crunch. That'll be it for right now for the Golden Crunch. Um, best character development, Grimgar, Fantasy, and Ash, very well deserved. Like you were saying with Cabaneri, in a in a bottle. Cabaneri, great character development. When you put it up against Grimgar, Fantasy, Ash, there's no question that this one has to take it. Our next award that will be giving it away. Uh, right to cell phones. Yeah, Golden Crunch. Is best story overall. Best story overall. Overall. I can't stay for long, unfortunately, but can't wait to see the rest of the results on YouTube. Okay, Smudge, thank you so much for stopping by. We appreciate it. So it's got to move you, right? It's
Yeah, best story overall. When we use that term overall, there that means, we're taking into account of a lot of elements like, the overarching story, the pacing, plot developments, how satisfying they are, plot twists, everything that goes into what we get presented to us from the beginning to what the story, comes to a close as, whether or not it's saying something, whether or not we go anywhere, and just, the overall presentation as well, goes into the story,
Mhm.
the world building, both within the large scale and small scale. uh it all goes hand in hand with when we say best story overall.
The nominees for best story overall this season are Odd Taxi, Elementary, Madison Magical, Kaguya-sama, Love is
You got
War.
a little muffled there, sorry.
Oh,
Can you
Kaguya-sama,
run that
Love is
back?
War, and The Promised Neverland. I know it gets a little weird whenever you talk over an audio track, but those are the four nominees for these. The best story overall. Anybody searching for a win here? Odd Taxi, first nomination here.
Mhm.
Kaguya-sama, first nomination here. The winner for best story overall is The Promised Neverland. The Promised
Clap
Neverland
it
is
up
the
for
best story overall. Man,
The Promised Neverland. There they are.
the audience needs to keep it down. Yeah. Sorry. They're going crazy over here. We have if you don't know,
There's
we're in
somebody
front of
holding
a
a card, and we need to just tell him to chill out for a second,
we're
alright?
in front of a live studio audience, if you don't know. For the very first time, live studio audience. The Promised Neverland. So like Odd Taxi first screams out to me as a great story. Odd Taxi is one that I really enjoyed. I liked the way it went, but some of it was on first watch a little confusing, a little bit too much going on. There was some stuff that I still had questions about. And while it did answer a lot of questions and it did feel like a complete story, during it, it did feel I was a little, chicken with
Mhm.
my head cut off a little bit. And I was like, okay, cool.
In a few spots, yeah.
Yeah. And,
And
and it's a great story.
it's a great story, and it definitely is a story that, the opening shot and the closing of the story kind of like, connect each other. But it is one of those stories where I don't feel like that one holds up as well on a rewatch as compared to something like The Promised Neverland, where a lot of the story gets completely recontextualized by the
Yes.
reveals in the second half of the story.
Hmm.
And me being somebody that was on a second rewatch of the series, I was finding new things like, oh, that's that happening right there, and like the little bits, little shots sometimes
Hmm.
where they seem benign, but they're again completely recontextualized by the plot twists and reveals in the later parts of the series.
Because at the core of this, The Promised Neverland, at the core of it's a very simple story. There's a simple, telling of there's these kids, this thing happened, we gotta escape at the core. But then there's so much other things that are happening that make it so much more interesting. The ambiance is what I remember the most about watching it for the first time. The Promised Neverland, the way that I felt while I was watching it, how eerie it felt, some of those longer shots, and growing to really like these kids and thinking of them. Whenever they get lifted off the page or lifted off of the TV, where they're actually like human kids people trying to figure this out, figure this world out, and to get to safety. And it's like really cool. I really did feel for these kids and really felt for their story, and I wanted to see them succeed. And I was rooting for them on the way. While I wasn't there at the beginning, while I was just like, okay, cool. Like, here's the thing. I grew because of what they were giving to me every single episode, and I grew to care about where they were going and if they were safe or not. And I grew to hate these certain characters, and I really enjoyed that. With Kaguya-sama, I did think it was a really great anime, but as far as a story overall, I really enjoyed the way Promised Neverland made me feel. Especially at the end when it finally happened. Monica Magica, again, this was a rewatch for me. I still love that story, still love it, but it's not. I don't know. I think there's something to how simple The Promised Neverland was and how simple it did keep it, but give us so much more off of that.
Yeah, because like you were saying, it's a more honed in story, and I feel like that allows you to kind of add a certain density into your story. And this small little house feels so intimidating when you just know that, like you said, in those creeping long shots, like getting to know mom as a character and like how she uses her tactics to, keep the kids docile, for lack of a better term.
Mhm.
She becomes this intimidating presence that's in this what's first established to be this loving, caring home environment, and it slowly gets turned on its head. And the house itself kind of feels like an obstacle over the course of the show that the children are trying to navigate. Um,
It gives the anime gives the house a personality,
yes,
and it becomes a character of its own because of how much time they spend in there and how much time we as viewers spend in each room. I mean, in each room is a whole different set piece there, and it's like we've seen many rooms where things were happening, and it feels so huge in scope compared to these little kids, and it feels like we're with them, we're on their level, trying to navigate this house to get out as well, and trying not to be caught
and to
by the
have it
dads.
all culminate with their, spoiler, with their escape, and with the house ultimately, like, being set ablaze and coming, like, burning down,
Perfect.
it's like, yeah, it's the perfect, like, period on that story.
Mhm. So the Promised Neverland won best story overall. Fantastic story. Good to give them a golden crunch this season. It was a really good story. Honestly, a lot of these were really good. We watched a lot of really good anime, and it was a little difficult to decide some of these. But the next Crunchy Award will be going to the best art direction. The best art direction. We have a couple of nominees here, but best art. I want something to knock my socks off. I want something to. I just want to look at it and just be like, "Whoa, this is beautiful." Like how I want to see you put hours into something, and
Mhm.
I want it to show.
And that's the thing when it's when we say best art direction, like something like Black Summoner, for instance, which you're not going to see on the list, even though we talked about how pretty and how like colorful it is, that doesn't necessarily give it the best art direction. It felt, at the end of the day, the art style felt very generic, even though it was like generic done with very pretty and vibrant colors. The art direction, for me, like, it needs to be consistent. I need something where no, like, shots feel like they belong, to a different show. Um, the the color palette and the pacing, not the pacing, I'm sorry, the color palette and the tone of the story,
Has
also
to
are very
match.
important. Yeah, it has to match. And there's a lot of shows on here that use their art style to really enhance the storytelling and the mood and the like of the story itself, kind of getting outside of the box sometimes, where
Mhm.
if you just rely on the tried and true, it'll get the job done, but you're not gonna end up, wowing anybody, where sometimes if you do something different, it might fall flat for some people, but you might end up really pulling off something unique and different that sets itself apart.
I think some honorable mentions for this before we show the nominees. Honorable mentions for me would be Tokyo Revengers. that looked really pretty. And while it didn't do a whole lot of stuff flashy, when I remember watching it and like during some moments, I'm like, wow, that looks gorgeous. That looks really good. So I think that's an honorable mention. Dimension W, also probably for art direction. I really enjoyed the art. It looked really crazy. It looked really beautiful.
For me, honorable mention would probably be Gotchamen Crowds. I would probably put that up there for art direction.
Hmm.
And also art direction, like I say like begrudgingly, but almost want to give Danganronpa an
Yeah,
art direction nod mention,
yeah,
just because it really did some unique stuff with
it
the
really did
execution
something.
scenes. I really felt like it was in the classroom trials. A lot of that stuff was unique.
Sure.
Again, it's outside of the box. It might not be the best looking, but stylistically different. Yes,
Hmm.
for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
So the nominees for best art direction are, I don't know if I should do the
Woo!
the Iron For oh,
Do that.
the Iron Fortress, Magica, Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash, and first time nominee here, Psychopaths. All of these are in the running for best art direction for this year. The Golden Crunch will go to, for best art direction, Cabaneri of the Iron Fortress, best art direction winner right here. So good.
Clap it up for
Oh man.
Cabaneri. What what a show.
Not only is it a great story, it's a great story. Love the story, but I just could not stop just being in awe of everything that I was seeing. While Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash, that was more recent, that we just watched that one. And while it does look beautiful, a lot of it for me was just still shots. So many still shots, beautiful watercolor or painting style shots. Great. But what they were doing with still shots is what Cabaneri, the Iron Force, was doing with movement, with fight scenes. Oh, it was so good.
Yes, the
Cece
movement,
said, such a pretty one. The crowd obviously agrees. I'm seated in the crowd.
the movement and the feeling of, like, you know, the weight of all the characters' actions in this show was kind of at the forefront of all the action.
Oh,
I ate up every second that, you know, something was happening. Things were exploding in fantastic fashion. We get these, you know, crazy zombie people that are just vile and vicious, and they just look terrifying. And they have a presence. The whole horde that you constantly see sweeping over the humans that are defending the last bastions of humanity. It
mhm.
feels intense because of how much presence they're given on the screen.
And those close-up shots, a lot of those really longer shots on people's faces,
Mhm.
on people's bodies, and showing the story in that way, like moving the story with their facial expressions, moving the story with their movement, or like the muscles in their body, the way they tense, or anything with their face. It was so good. I loved all of that. I loved them telling story through what they can do with the art. And it was a really fun watch. And I think it definitely deserves best art direction out of all of these. CZ said if it did one thing perfectly, they Michael Bayed the shiz out of those explosions. Yes, for sure. It was really good. And if I want, hmm, it would be one of those. Like if somebody were like, give me a really pretty anime that has a lot of action. I would definitely, it would be number one on my list. Probably. It's really short. It's a season, and it gets, you know, it gets you going. It gets you going, and it looks really beautiful while doing it. So far, if you're just joining us, we have Cabaneri the Iron Fortress for best art direction, The Promised Neverland for best story overall, and best character development, Grimgar, A Fantasy and Ash. What do you think about these wins, picking up the golden crunch. What do you think? Let us know in the live chat on Twitch here, and let us know in the YouTube comments if you're watching later or on Spotify. Um, yeah, I can't say anything more than just go watch it.
Yeah.
Go watch Cabaneri. It looks fantastic.
And again, like something like Kaguya-sama, uh something like Kaguya-sama is very looks great. Don't get me wrong, but like it's just when they do their little bits and their cutaways and stuff, it's like it's just this show doing like, things that I've seen other shows do before with,
Hmm.
the art style, how the characters are presented, uh in terms of like in terms of actual like posing and how they are in the scene. Cabaneri felt so dynamic where there was no like, oh, go back to, you know, sorry, trying to think stage direction brain right now and it's not happening. Everybody doesn't have like a set place. They're constantly like moving through these environments that
Hmm.
feel like they're actually real and dynamic, and that also kind of enhances the art direction when it feels like they're not just mannequins that are just in a little box being set on
Sure.
little posts or whatever.
Hmm.
um
Claire says, "OMG, how did you know I was late? Was it the toast hanging out of my mouth?" No, hello, welcome, Claire. We appreciate it. Appreciate you being here. CZ said, "Grimgar recency bias. Danganronpa shoulda, coulda, woulda won. Ooh, for best character
for
development.
best character
Ooh,
development, I don't
ooh." When they
know
were like,
about that.
when they were exposing like exposition for 10 minutes straight. Ooh, I don't know. I don't know. Fuzzy says, Danganronpa, more like, dang, I wish I could have take back watching this anime. Yikes.
Yeah, sure.
I liked
But
it. I
that's
think it was all
one.
right. After all this time, it was all right. Would I watch it again?
No.
Anyways, so those are the winners so far. And with like Monica Magica, it looks great. I'm such a huge Monica Magica stan. I love Monica Magica, but like I can agree, it's all over the place. It's
It's all
not
over the
great.
place in terms of consistency
Yeah, it's not great if you're looking for like
of Monica Magica. The reason that I bring that one up, is because of the witch layers or whatever they're called.
yeah.
Those scenes are like, whoa, this is again, it's unique. It's something different and it's something that I hadn't seen before. So that's gonna, generate a lot of interest in terms of, the best art direction because it's something that's kind of trying to be away from the normal.
And Psychopaths, I'm really glad we put it on there. It's one of the first anime that we watched. One of the first ones, and I really did like it. But compared to Cabaneri, there's just no question. I've loved Cabaneri since we saw it, and it's great. CZ said, literally gave me a headache, and I had to stop watching. It was a shame because story was good up until I stopped.
So like give Psychopaths those still shots that Cabaneri has, and
Yeah,
does Psychopaths beat Cabaneri at that point? Or
I don't think so.
yeah, I
It's
don't
pretty
think so either.
close.
Yeah.
It's pretty close because it was really good looking. But that was best art direction. Going on to our next category for the Golden Crunchy, the Golden Crunch, excuse me,
Golden Crunch.
the best antagonist. Best antagonist. When we're looking for a good slash bad antagonist, what is a good criteria for
Well,
that?
first of all, we definitely didn't use the word villain because we're not looking for somebody that's just outright the bad guy.
Hmm.
It doesn't need to be the bad guy. An antagonist can be somebody that just generates turbulent events for the protagonist. They can be somebody that can be an obstacle but also an ally. They don't always have to be just a straight up the guy in the big chair that turns around once you make it to the final room of the
Which in
dungeon.
CZ's case was the antagonist in Danganronpa sometimes, was literally sitting in a chair sometimes
So,
and
like,
whirling around with wine.
yeah, exactly, and, like, that's the, why that's the Monokuma's very good example of just a straight up, like, villain antagonist, but, a good villain antagonist, like, kind of, oof, um
Like kind of just cookie cut. Well, I don't know about cookie cutter, but the token way that you would look at a as a villain, Monokuma is there. I would say Monokuma is, because I know who's nominated for this. I would say Monokuma is a good antagonist for a runner up.
Yeah.
A good nod at Monokuma, but it's not here. I don't think.
He's funny and he's quirky and he stays interesting until the end of the show, so he has that going for him. But like the best type of antagonist, I think, like interact with the character directly. And
Mhm.
if I could draw a like a Dungeons and Dragons comparison for anybody, the two people that are going to hear this that are going to know this, Strahd in the Curse of Strahd campaign is often looked at as the best antagonist in the Dungeons and Dragons universe, because from the second you enter his like domain, you feel his influence and his impact all the way down to when you're making your way through the castle to try to slay him. He'll teleport into the room just to like, taunt you and then hit you with like a sleep spell and then teleport away. Like he's just always in your face, interacting with you in some way. He it has more nuance than what I'm just saying. Like he's so charismatic, and that's the thing. He has that again. A word that I'm using a lot is presence. A good antagonist, you feel their presence and their impact on the character as the character tries to make their way through the story in whichever way is possible. And each of these antagonists, I think, kind of fit a different archetype. That's the word I was looking
Sure.
for before. Monokuma fits a good just straight villain archetype, but here we have four very different types of villains that fit different types of archetypes, in my opinion. And that's why I think that they should definitely be the nominees today.
The nominees for the best antagonist are from Madoka Magica, Cubic, from the anime Atachi Obu, from the Promised Neverland, Mom, and from Tokyo Revengers, Kisaki Teta. If Berg ain't here, I ain't standing for this Gotcha Man snubbing. Oof. Oh, yeah, Gotcha Man crowds. Ooh.
I think Berg could be a
Honorable
honorable mention
mention,
here.
sure.
I think that that's definitely an honorable mention.
Twitch chat, live Twitch chat. Who do you think is the best antagonist out of these four? Let us know right now. Berg was really good. Dang. Too bad we didn't rank the anime a little bit higher. I probably would have moved out Kisaki Teta for Berg, maybe. Maybe.
I can
A
maybe
thought.
see that happening.
I could see that. So best antagonist, the winner of the Golden Crunch is
Drum roll.
Cube. Cube is the best antagonist, winner of the Golden Crunch. Wow, what a face.
I hate Cube.
Yeah.
I came out of this season still harboring the most amount of hate for this stupid little guy.
Stupid fucking face, man.
And
His little
he's a
face.
great antagonist that, isn't initially presented as, an antagonist. He's initially kind of presented as an ally and in fact somebody that was under duress and needed to be saved, but really he was the maniacal little mastermind that was kind of the reason that the main characters endured the hardships that they were enduring in the first place,
Mhm.
under the guise of, well, it's just how things have always been, so why are you upset?
Mhm. And because
um
of the non-emotion to
yes.
what he was doing. I really like having Dobu there from Odd Taxi as well. Having
See,
Dobu
again,
there is so interesting.
Dobu, I feel like fit a great like kind of different archetype of a villain where you're having those direct face-to-face interactions along the way, and you might even become, the ally of my ally is my friend type situation.
Mhm.
Um, but he's still at the end of the day moving for his own goals, which don't align with RMC, and is creating problems for RMC, who in that case wanted to Shino to be at peace, but she couldn't be at peace because of Dobu.
Hmm.
Um,
And
so
I
it,
like
it
that
created a
we
lot of nuance, and it felt like this like chess game that they were playing with each other, always trying to be have the one move in front of each other. And for Dobu, for a while, it was just the fact that he had a gun, but it gets more nuanced than that as the series goes on.
Yeah, I like that we get a whole lot of different sides from Dobu there because we do see him sort of as a friend at some points while still having, the gun behind our back waiting for the moment that he turns on us because we're going to turn on him or anything like that. But like we also see him die as well. A big part of it is him dying toward the end. And it's like, well, not dying. Well, did he die? I don't
He
remember if he died.
survived.
He
He
survived. Yeah,
got his
dying.
he got what he deserved, but he ended up surviving and, just being in the hospital.
Yeah, the big moment there where it finally climaxed with the actual odd taxi when they said it. Um, I do like mom as well being in there because she is just this figure that is there for our protagonist, and it turns out to be completely different. And
Yeah.
we uncover it together. And I think that was the most fun part in the first beginning episodes, uncovering what was actually happening, what's going on, and that mom, the person that we confide in the most, the one that's taking care of us, is the one that's behind it. And she's all powerful and she's great and she's super smart and does all this other stuff. And she's trying to keep it all together and she's the best of what she's doing. And I love that sort of realization of what's going to happen and what we have to do to overcome this. And I
And
really
again, it feels again like the situation with Dobu, where you have those direct confrontations all along the way. Even though it's like, mom's not really shown to be ultimately, the big bad guy. It's the fact that there are demons running this place. But mom is the antagonist and obstacle that they need to overcome if they're gonna need to escape. And they have to like for a while, put on this front, put on this face that like, oh yeah, everything's fine. But the one scene that always just sticks with me when I think of the show, in terms of mom, is when they're at the top of the stairs, when she's at the top of the stairs talking to Emma and Norman, and then
oh,
they like
I
walk
already know.
away, and the
Yeah.
second they're out of eye shot, they both like just fall to the ground and like start like hyperventilating. It's like they're terrified, and I don't blame them. Imagine like that type of environment. It's for a
Yeah.
child.
And that scene was such a tame scene too. Like there was this tension that we felt because we know everything, but it was just them talking and it was just them this far apart, but her having the ultimate upper hand always and her being so bringing out all of this fear from our main characters. And then I already knew which scene you're talking about because I still remember it. I remember that because it was like, oh my God, like this hurts for me. I think the best part about in Tokyo Revengers about Kisaki Teta is that we finished where we finished and we didn't get to see him fulfill everything that he needs to. And I am afraid of Kisaki Teta because we've seen
Yeah.
him in the back the entire time. We watched the first 13 episodes, I think 12 or 13, and we see him just there for most of it. We're trying
Yep.
to figure it out, trying to figure out how he changes the entire timeline, how he gets in everybody's situation, and then we end watching it by him doing an ultimate bad where I thought we were not ever going to do this. We were not going to have to go back and save her again.
Not only her, but
Insane.
also his best friend. What is
And change the timeline. Yes.
Forgetting their names. But yeah, he get continues to be told this name, Kisaki Teta, Kisaki Teta. Like it's a name that's said many times, and he even like walks right past him and goes like, feel like I've seen that guy somewhere, but doesn't remember that it's him. And it ultimately culminates where we left off, and it really gives weight to like the name that we've been getting thrown our way the whole time. And like now the real goal is presented at the end of it, and it feels like it just feels like this where with mom and Dobu you're interacting with them the whole time along the way. It's like, oh, I forgot, like he can just be doing his own things too.
He has his own
um
thing. He's
and yes,
he's there always. We don't know him. We don't know where he is. We know very little about him. Dan says he really becomes an even bigger and badder antagonist in the second half of the season, and I was here for it.
he does. As
I
somebody
do really
who
want
has
to.
watched it, I can
Yeah,
attest to that.
I kind of want to.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna get the Tokyo Revengers manga because I want to continue the story. Um, because they're really nice omnibuses. Okay, so that was best antagonist.
Cube,
CZ says, "You know what?
stupid
Change
little
the winner.
guy
The
that
crowd,
gets
the
girls.
crowd demands a recount. Who is gonna be the winner?"
um,
So to recap, because we are going on to our final Crunchy award. To recap all that have won already. Best character development was Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash. The best story overall was The Promised Neverland. Best art direction was Cabaneri of the Iron Fortress. And best antagonist was Cube from Madoka Magica. Those are the winners so far. Do you agree with us? Do you disagree? Would there be somebody else up there? Let us know. Let us know in the live chat or on the YouTube comments. But we are on our final crunchy of the season. And this is the end of season one. We are done. We're starting anew, starting fresh. And at the end of this episode, we're going to pick a brand new anime to watch together, the very first one of season two. So I'm super excited. But before that, we got to talk about the best anime that we saw this season. We've seen a ton of them. You've seen all of them. You've seen where we rank them. But what constitutes as the best anime for you, Matt?
it's it's gotta be like a completish package style deal. It's gotta have, all the bits, all the pieces. It's making me laugh, it's making me feel emotion, laughing, crying. It's funny, it's heartbreaking. I'm just, going back and forth on two extremes, but it's just a lot in one. And it not only brings together beautiful art design, sound design, and voice acting, it also puts a good core like message for the audience to be able to connect to in some way. Um in my opinion, it can get super incredibly subjective, and
Sure.
this is probably the most, subjective, award that we'll be giving out today,
Yeah, for
but,
sure.
it's definitely to me something that, that just when I'm done watching it, I really feel like I got like, a lot out of it in terms of in terms of beyond just enjoyment, just enjoying it off of face value, but even being able to walk away from it, enjoying it at its face value too. If it's something that, doesn't need to be thought about too long to be enjoyed, but at the same time, you could really dive into it and break it down. Um, it's got a lot of nuance to what makes an anime great, but in a nutshell, that to me would be what I would say.
CZ says a surprise last entry by Danganronpa season 3, won by 103% of the vote. Congrats,
Forgot about that
Monokuma.
one.
Come get your golden crunch. Nope, didn't watch it. The all right, the nominees for the best anime are Habaneri of the Iron Fortress. Do I have the right ones? I do have the right ones. Habaneri of the Iron Fortress. Puella Magi Madoka Magica. The Promised Neverland. And Kaguya-sama Love is War. These are your nominees. These are the ones. Who is going to win Best Anime Award? Let us know in the Twitch live chat. Oh, we got to keep going. Crowd.
Drum roll, please.
A lot of people might be mad for this one. The winner for the final CRONCH for Best Anime is Kaguya-sama Love is War, the best anime that we've watched this season. The number one anime for the Jules and Matt Anime Hour this season. It was pretty tight.
It was it was definitely something that we sat down and thought about.
Yeah, it took me a little bit because Matt initially brought to the forefront one anime, and I was like, yeah, I think about it. I was like, yeah, it's good. But did it really give me everything that Kaguya-sama Love is War gave me? No. I really enjoyed Kaguya-sama Love is War because of how funny it is watching it in English. We watched it in English. That was very important. And how great the voice acting was, how fun it was, how silly, so much that went into this anime to make it such a fun watch. And it was really good. It looked really pretty and it was really silly, but it had like some really cool characters in there. I don't know.
One
Um,
thing that really got me with this is that the first couple episodes feel very serialized. They feel like you can almost watch them in any order, and over the course of the show, it turns into a structured narrative where you start to see like the flow of time going forward and stuff, and you start to get that happening, and it just happens so naturally that I didn't even notice it till after it was already happening.
mhm,
And like to me that like also kind of embodies a part of like where anime roots from, where you know you used to have very many episodes that they tried to serialize, that way you could watch it in a vacuum and not have to, you know, you couldn't just stream everything, you couldn't just sit there and watch episode after episode back to back. So they wanted to make episodes in a bubble feel a lot more enjoyable, and this would have like done so well back in the day, like and we're getting this as a contemporary show, which is great. But I'm just saying, like, just this structure perfectly combines, like, you know, the old roots of that serialized storytelling to the modern day, like we're gonna make this all a structured narrative from, you know, go. And the when you watch it back, that does the serialization plays into the narrative as well. um
because of the
so it
passage
also,
of time.
yeah, and that's because of the passage of time, and that's just like, you know, that's just surface level stuff. Again, you could really start to dig into it, but to me that was one of the biggest reasons why, compared to some of the other shows, they just kind of start off and go for the grand narrative, which is great, but it just like it doesn't have as much of a ease of access, I feel like, for like entry level people that are just trying to get into something and watch something and have it not be too demanding,
Mhm.
to for lack of a better term. It could be casually enjoyed and enjoyed by a more intensive viewer.
CZ says, "Can we get a rank check on that out of pure curiosity?" You mean like where we put them on the rankings? Because all of the anime that were listed under best anime were all S ranked by both of us, I
Hmm.
think. So they were both anime that or they were all four of them were anime that we ranked as S,
Right.
for Mia and Matt. I don't know if that's what you meant by a rank check, but Promise Neverland, Kabaneri, Madoka Magica, and Kaguya-sama were all S ranks for us. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's just so good. Like I love Kaguya-sama. I want to keep going. I didn't like the manga. Not a big fan of the manga because it just doesn't translate. I don't know. It's really the story is good, but really what really takes it over the top is the voice acting, the art, the silliness, the fun stuff, the fourth wall breaks and all that.
Hilarious.
It's just hilarious. It's the first time I think in the anime where I was like, I don't know if I've ever like out loud laughed a lot in an anime. This one's funny. This one's really funny. I mean, I did recently with Scott Pilgrim, but not as much as I did with Kaguya-sama. Kaguya-sama is just hilarious, really good. It was really funny. Was just wondering if someone bought out the voting jury. No, if you want to buy us out, we're pretty easy. I'm pretty sure we can do whatever. I'm
Bro,
I'm easily
let me
bought.
just send you my Steam wish list real quick.
Yeah, Matt has a lot of Steam Steam games that he can send you over if you like. But those are it. So the best, again, to recap, best character development, Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash. Let's give a round of applause to all of our
Round of
winners today.
applause.
All of our winners. Grimgar, Fantasy, and Ash for best character development. Best story overall, The Promised Neverland. Best art direction was Cabaneri the Iron Fortress. Best antagonist was Cube Monica Magica, and the best anime award, Kaguya-sama, Love is War. There it
Love
is.
is one.
Love is War. $5 for Gotchaman to win. Great awards. Excited for season 2. So yes, that was the end of season 1. That was the Crunchy Awards presented by the Jules and Matt Anime Hour. Glad you enjoyed it. Hopefully, next year we could do it again for all of the anime that we watch in season 2. But we have to say goodbye to this ranking list. It will be changed. We will change it up next season. And next season, for the people that watch the anime, you may have sort of a say in what it gets ranked. So we would like you to watch these animes with us so you can rate them along with us as well, and it would count. From this antagonist, what was that? Antagonist was unexpected, but also so true. Yeah, I just hate that little guy's face, man. That's about it. Just give me a punchable fucking face. So we would like to extend the offer. You always got to watch with us, watch these anime with us, and now you can actually vote on where it should be placed, because we will be all voting together, and we have one placement. It will not no longer be Jules versus Matt on here. It is one placement. So us, we have a weight. I have a weight of how much my vote will be. Matt has a weight for how much his vote will be, and the people that watch it and vote will have a weight to what it will be. So it will be one collective way of where we rank it on the list, which is very cool. What's going to be coming up
Very
season
cool,
2.
very fun.
We have all these anime. Too many anime, too many bits.
Some
we have
would
too
say.
many anime. Some would say too much anime. We got to pick it.
What am
First
I gonna do with
anime.
all these recommendations?
What am I going to do with all these? Season 2. I don't know what I want to watch. I don't know what kind of anime I want to watch. I want something good. Hit me with a good one or a really bad one. But Matt has all those anime here in the anime chest of dreams. There's enough for season 2 and 3. Oh yeah, we also thought about, should I say that? We also thought about, now that we're in season 2, if you want us to continue with an anime we've already seen, you can add in like season 2 of so and so. You know what I mean? I think I don't know. We're just workshopping it.
Yeah,
We'll see.
we'll see.
So Jules' vote is worthless, and Matt's votes make lunar boobs look small. Start with a CZ special. Season 1 was my guilty pleasure. Season 2 is my top picks. The next anime that we're gonna be watching, first one for season 2 is wait, drum roll.
This is the Bakemonogatari. It's over there on the left column. Sorry.
Bakemonogatari. Sure. Why
that
not?
That one.
We're watching it.
We're watching it. It is a mimic. My eye looks like an O there.
Yeah. That one's been in there for a little bit. I forgot who suggested that.
Alex Fizzy. I wrote down the person on this one. Oh, Alex Fizzy.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Alex. Appreciate it. Hello, J Fox. Hello. Welcome. So that's the first anime that we're gonna watch. Watch episode 1 through 4, Bakemonogatari. Watch episode 1 through 4 of that before next Wednesday if you watch these shows live. Next Friday if you watch them on YouTube and Spotify. Thank you so much for watching for the first annual Crunchy Awards, hosted by Jules and Matt from the Jules and Matt Anime Hour. Thank you so much for the continued support. through a whole year. This has been a whole year of doing the show, and I don't want to stop. This is so much fun. Get to do it all the time, and it's really cool. And it's really fun, making these little
Watching
graphics
animes.
and all this stuff, watching animes, all that stuff. Start off on season 2. Oh, okay.
No, to start off season 2.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought you meant like start with season 2. No. But yes, we'll start. I honestly don't know. I haven't even seen the graphics for it. So I
Neither
don't
have I.
know.
I have zero uh zero
Context.
knowledge, yeah, zero context as to what we're gonna get ourselves into here.
No, but
I hope
be
it's
sure to
good.
watch it. Be sure to watch these animes with the season 2 so you can vote for where it's going to be on our tier ranking. We would love for you to watch and share the animes with us. So, Matt, when you're not hosting the Crunchy Awards, where can they find you?
Tomorrow morning you can find me streaming on my Twitch at Matt_Galley. If you want to follow me, I'll be there tomorrow morning. That's gonna be Thursday, 10 a.m. PST. When we're not here
Wait, what are you going to
giving out,
play?
I'm gonna be playing video games.
Okay, no sneak peek. No sneak peek. Okay. My
When we're not here giving out the crunchies, where can the people find you?
On my social media at JulesTheHuman at JulesTheHuman on all social media on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube.com/JulesTheHuman is where you can see these podcasts up. I don't really make a whole lot of stuff, but it's fine. I'm living my life. I'm building tree. Do you see the tree, the Christmas tree? Just put it up. I'm
Did you
out there
put
living my
those
life.
ornaments on it them yourself, or did it come with ornaments
Chat,
on in the
Matt.
box?
Matt asked me, did that tree come with the ornaments on it? And I was
Listen,
just like, what?
I immediately followed up with, "I'm sorry if that's a stupid question.
Yeah, and I felt bad.
I've
Um,
seen these sus Christmas trees that just are pre-ornamented. It's very,
that's half
very
the
fake."
fun.
Yeah, no, that's why I was asking.
You can find me on all the things. Join the Discord. It's in the link down there, all that stuff. So let's talk about anime. Bakemonogatari is the first anime of season 2. Go watch it, episode 1 through 4, and we'll see you next week. Thanks so much to our live studio audience here for the Country Awards.
Let's get another round of
Let's
applause.
get another round of applause here. Oh my God, they're going crazy. Oh, keep it down. Keep it down.
Until next time.
Oh man.
Until next time.
Boo. Complete snub for a lot of CZ picks, but it's okay. We'll see you next week. First episode of season 2.
Season 2.
All right.
Bye. What's this yogurt and mayo doing here?